Good day, this is Francisco III P. Palma, Doctor of Education and Physical Education student, and we'll be discussing to you the Unit 2 Introduction of Concepts of Functional Kinesiology. And here are the coverage for Introduction of Concepts in Functional Kinesiology. We have the kinesiology, functional kinesiology, goniometry, human movement, principles of mechanics, musculoskeletal anatomy, and neuromuscular physiology, physical therapy exercise. We have also the functional exercises, green exercises, and natural movement. So in this presentation, we will introduce the key concepts of functional kinesiology and explore how it contributes to overall health and wellness. We will also examine how understanding human movement, biomechanics, and muscular function can be applied to create effective wellness programs that enhance mobility, strength, and overall well-being. So first up, we will define what is kinesiology. So kinesiology is a multidisciplinary study of human movement. It incorporates principles from anatomy, physiology, biomechanics, and neurology to understand how the body moves. Kinesiology is used to improve physical performance and design interventions to address movement dysfunction. For example, a kinesiologist might analyze a person's gait to identify abnormalities that could be contributing to back pain. So what we have here is biomechanics, understanding the mechanical principles of human motion, motor control, how the brain and nervous system coordinate movements, and posture analysis, studying how posture affects overall movement efficiency. So next up, we have the functional kinesiology. It focuses on the movements necessary for daily activities or specific sports aiming to enhance performance and prevent injury. So this subfield applies the principles of kinesiology in real-world contexts, understanding how different muscle groups, joints, and tendons function together to optimize efficiency in movement patterns. So for example, a physiotherapist may work together with the patient to assess their walking pattern after surgery, focusing on how the pelvis, knees, and ankles work together during walking. So it includes movement screening, identifying dysfunctional patterns to create corrective exercises, exercise prescription, designing functional exercises to improve strength and flexibility, and of course, joint stability, enhancing the stability of key joints like the knee or shoulder to prevent injury. Third, we have the goniometry. It is a technique used to measure the range of motion or ROM in joints. It is essential in both rehabilitation and athletic training to assess progress, determine functional limitations, and develop personalized therapy programs. So for example, a goniometer is used to measure the flexion of a knee joint after the ACL surgery to assess patient's recovery progress, as you can observe in the photo presented. So including the active versus passive ROM, the difference between movements performed by the individual and those assessed by a therapist. Next, we have the joint assessment, regular assessments to monitor the health of joints over time, and measurement techniques, different types of goniometers and their use in clinical setting. So fourth, we have the human movement. It encompasses the coordinated physical actions of the body that involves different joints, muscles, and systems. So movement is categorized into various types like voluntary or conscious muscles and involuntary or reflexes or automatic process like breathing. So understanding human movement helps in designing exercises or rehabilitation or enhancing sports performance. So for example, a tennis player serves involves various movements such as shoulder rotation, wrist extension, and knee flexion that need to be coordinated appropriately. So it includes motor learning, how we acquire and refine movement skills. So motor performance, the execution of learned movement skills, and locomotion, how the body moves, and space, including walking, running, and jumping. So next up, we have the principles of mechanics. So mechanics is a branch of physics. concerned with the behavior of physical bodies when subjected to forces or displacements. So, in the context of kinesiology, principles of mechanics help us to explain how the body moves under the influence of forces like gravity, inertia, and torque. So, for example, when performing a deadlift, as you can observe in the photo presented, understanding torque and leverage can help ensure the load is lifted efficiently while reducing stress on the spine. So it includes the levers in the body. So in understanding the lever system in joints to optimize force production. We have also the force transmission, how forces are transferred through the body during movement, and balance and equilibrium, principles of maintaining a stable posture. So next up, we had the musculoskeletal anatomy. So it refers to the structures within the body that enable movement, including bones, muscles, joints, ligaments, and tendons. So understanding of these structures is vital for injury prevention, rehabilitation, and enhancing athletic performance. So for example, the shoulder joint or glenohumeral joint relies on the muscles such as the rotator cuff to stabilize and facilitate a wide range of motion. So this includes the joint types, ball and socket joints, shoulder or hinge joints or elbow. So we have also the muscle groups. The major muscle groups involved in key movements such as quadriceps, hamstrings, and running. So we have also the tendons and ligaments. So their role in stabilizing joints and transmitting muscles force. Next up, we have the neuromuscular physiology. Neuromuscular physiology, it is the study how the nervous system and muscular system work together in order for us to move. So it focuses on how neural impulses stimulate muscle contractions and how these contractions result in coordinated movements. So for example, in a bicep curl, the motor neurons transmit signal from the brain to the biceps muscle, causing it to contract and lift a weight. So this includes the neural activation, how the brain controls muscle movement through motor neurons. Muscle fiber types. Includes the slow twitch and fast twitch fibers and their role in endurance and power activities. And neuromuscular junction, the point where the motor neuron meets the muscle fiber and initiate contraction. So next up, we have the physical therapy exercises. It is a tailored exercises designed to rehabilitate injuries, increase strength, flexibility, and range of motion. They are often prescribed after surgery or injury and are essential in the recovery process. So for example, after a sprained ankle, a patient may be given balance exercises to strengthen the ankle ligaments and improve coordination. So it includes the strengthening exercises, building muscles and strength to support joints. So stretching techniques to increase flexibility and prevent muscle stiffness, and post-surgical rehab. So specific exercises are designed to restore function after surgery. So let's proceed to the functional exercises. Functional exercises are designed to improve the body's ability to perform real-world activities by mimicking the movements we perform every day or in sports. So these exercises involves multiple joints and muscle groups targeting strength, balance, and endurance, ultimately enhancing your functional capacity. So for example, the kettlebell swing, as you can observe in the photo presented, so it is a functional exercise that engages hip muscles and core backs. So it mimics the bending and lifting motion commonly used in activities like picking up objects from the ground, enhancing coordination and stability while preventing injury. So it includes multiple or multi-joint movements. So these exercises engage multiple muscles and joints simultaneously, making them highly effective for improving functional strength. So next, we have the core stability. Functional exercises such as planks and Russian twists strengthen the core which is crucial for maintaining balance and posture. We have also the body weight training. So this type of training uses your body's own weight to develop strength, mobility, and stability, such as push-ups, pull-ups, and burpees are all examples of body weight exercises that target multiple muscle groups without requiring any equipment. Next, we have the green exercises, and I also consider this as my favorite exercise. It refers to the physical activities performed in natural environments, offering both physical and psychological benefits. Engaging in outdoor exercise not only promotes fitness but has been shown to reduce stress, boost mood, and improve overall mental health, making it essential component for a well-rounded wellness routine. So we have the hiking through nature trail or participating in park yoga are excellent examples of green exercises. So they combine the physical benefits of movement with the calming effects of nature, helping individuals feel more relaxed and connected to their surroundings. So we have the mental health benefits. So its studies shows that exercises outdoors can significantly reduce stress, anxiety, and depression. The exposure to nature environments or natural environments has a calming effect on the brain, helping individuals feel more focused and balanced. It also improves well-being. Spending time in green spaces is linked to increased feelings of relaxation, energy, and overall emotional well-being. This leads to a more positive outlook in life, which is essential for maintaining long-term health and happiness. And of course, outdoor group activities, participating in community fitness classes like group cycling, walking clubs, or outdoor boot camps allows individuals to engage in social and physical activities. Being a part of a group enhances motivation and accountability, while the natural surroundings amplify the physical and mental benefits. Last, we have the natural movement. It focuses on exercises that mimic the body's innate movement patterns, requiring little to no equipment. These exercises help improve mobility, strength, and coordination by engaging multiple muscle groups simultaneously, aligning the body's natural mechanics. So, for example, we have the crawling, climbing, and jumping are fundamental natural movements that children and adults alike use. These movements strengthen the entire body by targeting different muscles in the arms, legs, and core, enhancing coordination and functional capacity. So it includes primitive movement patterns. This includes action such as crawling, squatting, jumping, and climbing. So these movements not only mimic what the body was designed to do, but also engage large muscles to build strength, improve flexibility, and enhance mobility. We have also the body weight exercises. Natural movements emphasizes body weight exercise like push-ups, planks, pull-ups, and squats, so which require no equipment. And we have also the movement efficiency. Natural movement is centered on the idea of using the body in its most efficient form. It's about maximizing and ranging of motion in joints and muscles while maintaining balance and control. So, in summary, emphasizing how understanding human movement, biomechanics, and muscle functions can optimize health and wellness. By integrating functional exercises, green exercises, and natural movement, we explore effective ways to improve physical performance and promote overall well being in real life contexts. And here are my reliable references. Once again, this is Francisco III P. Palma, a Doctor of Education and Physical Education student, and thank you for listening.